Welcome to another episode of the 100% podcast with me, your host, Harry Purdy. Today we are joined by a returning guest. Now, we've actually looked at the data, the statistics of when this episode was recorded with today's guest, but it's been 4 years, over 4 years since he was last on the show. He came on when it was known as the Grassroots Guy. I'm welcoming back on ex-retired Ilchester manager, my cousin, amazing friend, great person, Mr. Frazer Harley. Welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you very much. Excited to get going.
Mate, 4 years.
It's crazy, isn't it?
What do you remember about those times?
It was COVID. It was in the middle of COVID. And it was just a weird time for everybody, wasn't it? It was
just so many things are just flashing, getting changed at the side of the
getting
pitch.
changed at the side of the pitch. I was actually having a conversation at work earlier, and we were talking about queuing for Palmers. Like, that is my biggest memory of COVID was as soon as things started opening up, it was queuing up for Palmers, queuing up for supermarkets, and that was a big day out. And now we're here, and it's like a fever dream, isn't it? It's all gone. It's
what I find. Obviously, I don't want to make this podcast, Fraser and Harry, talk about COVID, but what I find phenomenal about it is just how quickly people adapted to that life and then re-adapted back to normality, right? It was really easy to fall into like some poor habits during those times.
Oh, definitely. I think I was eating like 5 packs of sweets a day. That's that was my COVID, playing Xbox, eating 5 packets of sweets a day, and yeah. I don't do that anymore, luckily.
Yeah, mate, for sure. And I will speak about you taking back up running again soon and all those kind of things. And then the other thing, like you've already mentioned it, but obviously me and Dad lived out in Stoke, and we would always do our shop with Asda. And I remember like every 2 weeks I'd like be not excited. I'm not going to use the word excited, but almost a bit like, I get to go. But then you get to go shopping. And I would make sure that I walked up and down every aisle, like, to look at everything, and then like end up buying like 8 beers and like different beer. I'd be like, right, which different beer do I want to try today? Obviously, long time ago now it feels like, but just being stood in that car park, like being told that you can come into the shop, fucking yay, crazy. But football at that time. Like 5 years ago, does it feel like 5 years ago that you came onto the show or not really?
Not at all, no.
Hold on, wait. Yeah, no, 4 years ago.
4 years,
yeah. 4 years.
Not at all. It's absolutely flown by, but also feels a lifetime ago. It's so strange just saying that COVID season football was 4 years ago. It feels like yesterday.
Did they end the season early? I can't remember what actually happened.
So I think the first season was ended early, and then the second season was where you were talking changing on the side of the pitch.
Yeah.
Not allowed to go back to pubs after the game.
Right.
It was proper. It was very different, wasn't it?
Yeah, really different.
And I remember the first time we went in back into a changing room was just in the hall, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like in the big hall where like you were essentially supposed to keep a little bit of distance.
Exactly.
And stuff. Yeah. Really mad. Really mad. All right, going to Ilchester then, mate. I think it's one thing I want to say as well is like the show has developed, right? But it's number one, it's really nice to throw things back to a bit of a grassroots guy chat / podcast. But I am genuinely intrigued of like what I think at the time I remember asking you a little bit about like what you'd learnt from being a football manager, and obviously you're in your kind of early stages of doing that at grassroots level. But now you've done it for 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
There's going to be some things that you probably have learnt, some things that you, if you were to do it all again, may have done different. And obviously we can go into those conversations. But one thing that I want to say and like give you a bit of credit really, mate, is that I do think when I put it on my post, I gave you a bit of kudos on Facebook, didn't I?
You did.
Number one, like from a personal note, you gave me a home after Montacute. But secondly, I think it does go like away from people's view how much of an impact somebody like a grassroots football manager can have on so many people's lives and the impact it can have on a community. Did you feel that when, because I know that I did, when I was Montacute manager, I knew that it impacted people locally. Obviously I had a good group of mates, same as you, but did you feel that like that you knew you were doing a good thing when you were doing it?
I don't think I did when doing it.
Yeah.
But since I've decided to step away, the amount of people that have thanked me, the amount of people that have messaged me since, even in, it's probably just over a month, the amount of people that have said something to me, thanking me for small things I didn't even realise, like there was somebody that's moved to the area through Navy, and he just thanked me for getting involved with groups of friends and going out of my way when he first turned up to training. And there's certain things that to me is nothing. That's just my personality.
Yeah.
But to other people seem like massive things. So since giving up, yeah, I have. It's very strange.
Yeah, I think one of the good things that you managed to do, mate, is you managed to transition your like personality into managing men, which is hard because we can be a nightmare. I know, like you and me, and like in a good way, we have a difference of opinion sometimes, but it's never done in a like malicious way.
Definitely,
like, you're a fucking knob or whatever. It's just like we'll have like maybe a raised conversation about it, and then we kind of see each other's perspectives on things. But I actually went for a run this morning with Ant Heron. And he was like, who you interviewing today? I was like, Frazer's coming back on. We're talking about football, blah, blah, blah. He's like, he seems like a sweet lad. And I was like, do you know what, mate? Like, if you was to say, like, a description for somebody outside of you, that would probably, I'd be like, yeah, you've pretty much nailed it. I said, he's got, like, good family morals, kind, good-natured. And really, mate, like, if you can take that into football managing as well, you've won half the battle.
100%. I think I was never somebody that winning was at all costs. That was never me. I always wanted to try and keep a good group of lads around me, and most importantly, local football's all about enjoyment. Sometimes
I'd say that's probably where we clash the most, right?
Yeah, 100%.
We don't need to mention names or anything, but like if you make a sub, like we're 2-0 up, and you bring on somebody who's not as strong in a position, I'll be like, for fuck's sake, Chris. Why have you done this now? But there's a reason for it, right?
Yeah, there was always times like cup semi-finals, cup finals. Then I was a little bit more, let's just make sure we win this one.
Yeah.
But a normal league game, at the end of the day, it's local league football, and everybody is giving up their time to try and have fun and enjoy it. So for me, getting people on the pitch was most important. Just getting people involved, feeling like they're part of the club, and enjoyment, and celebrate the wins together. That was the main thing for me.
Did you notice much of a transition from, like, I looked at the team recently, actually. First game at Melbourne Port. Here's a general, you probably will know.
Yeah.
A bit of, like, personal kudos on the podcast. Ilchester's first goal under your management.
That was you, wasn't it? I thought it could have been
1-0.
I thought it was Scott Greenaway, but
yeah, it was.
No,
I scored a tap in on the line, like last couple of minutes at Melbourne Port away. But did you notice much of a transition with, like, I guess it's not a level of seriousness, because at the end of the day, no matter what anybody says about local football, it is only 100%. Local football. But did you feel that like the team grew as like more of a competitive, or had a bit more of a competitive nature as you went on?
Definitely. So the team started out as my group of mates, didn't it? With a couple of extras that were just good lads and wanted to be involved, to especially that second half of that season. We were just a team that we all got on really well, but we turned up every week and we were like, we're going to win, we're going to win, we're going to win. And there was a winning mentality there. And if I was there being super relaxed and just trying to be jokey, I don't think people would have liked it. So we did get more serious, especially that second half of the season.
This season?
This last season, it was so much more competitive than it's been for a long time, I'd say. Yeah,
I think you had like some really good characters and stuff. And I guess as well, as a manager, and I know that obviously I had 5 out of 6 years or 6 out of 7 years. I can't really remember how many years I was Montacute manager, but I knew when the change room had changed.
Yeah.
I knew when there were people that didn't really align with what I was saying. Did you, like, again, we don't need to mention names, but did you feel that at the start of this year?
At the start of this year, the biggest problem was we had a team that we didn't know each other. And from the start of the season to where we finished the season, the team didn't change that much, really, in terms of the core group of players were there. But the addition of you, the addition of Will Den, and the addition of George Hawke, all around the same time.
PJ back from injury.
Paul Johnson back from injury, and Craig back from his surgery. It was 4 players, and it just changed the whole core of the team. And even Rudy
Yeah, mate.
Rudy, who
What a lad.
what an amazing bloke he is. But just Rudy was there, and he purely wanted to win football games, and he was there to wind up opposition.
Yeah.
And that was the first ever time at Ilchester manager that I'd say we had a character like that was there. He really wanted to win, and he was the biggest wind up on the pitch.
The only comparison in some ways you could probably say, I'd say Bart at times.
Yeah, Bartek.
And JT, like on his day, if he was on his day and he fancied like just not having a laugh, but like he knew he was better than the opposition, he would get in their heads, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
But I think Rudy did it unapologetically.
Yeah, he could not care, could he?
Yeah. What was your tell me about your. Actually, let's start. We'll go negative. What would you say like the moments where you've thought like fuck this? Was there any specific times over the last 7 years where you've been like, do you know what? I'm done with this volunteering because of this situation. And what did you learn from those times?
I'd say first 4 years I was 100% in it, 100% happy, and never at one point thought I'm going to give this up. It's always been the first half of a season that the availability has been crap. The dedication to playing has been awful. Chasing payments. It always seems to be in the first half of the year. So I'd say for the last 3 seasons, that first half of the season, I've gone, I'm giving it up this year. I'm done. And got to a stage where I actually spoke to Joe about taking on a team halfway through the year, and I was just going to step away.
Yeah. And to be like, obviously not as though you're trying to be. I'm not saying that you're being hypocritical neither, but you obviously do have a massive interest in. You had a massive interest in Leeds' promotion push, which probably at the time was like, oh well, like what's better right now?
Yeah, definitely.
But you saw as well, like I know you weren't there a couple times, but as the team got stronger, it was like you were enjoying.
100%.
Yeah, a bit more.
100%. I'd say the end of this season, I was so conflicted at most weeks where Leeds were absolutely flying and could win the league at any moment.
Even with a bad goalie, mate.
Even with a bad goalie, which was many laughs in the Dolphin.
Jesus, yeah.
Most weeks I was thinking, do I manage Ilchester this week? Do I go and watch Leeds? But at the end of the day, I just didn't want to let down the lads. That was the main thing for me. It was, you can see from about February onwards, I was there every game, apart from the last game of the season because nothing was on it. But I was there every single game, every week at Ilchester, and only went to 1 or 2 Leeds games at the end of the year. And that was because I just didn't want to let the lads down, especially knowing it was my last season. Yeah,
for sure. And obviously, well, for the listeners' perspective, we ended up with your last game notching that trophy, which I think everybody, it was almost, and this is without any disrespect to South Petherton in that final, everybody put 20% extra in.
100%.
And I don't think anybody came to that game thinking we were going to lose.
I think the only one was me.
Yeah.
Mine and Joe's nerves were horrendous.
Were they?
And I think we've got to give a massive thank you to Aaron March that day.
Oh,
because
he was unreal, yeah.
Without him, me and Joe wouldn't have been able to do anything. Honestly, we were both bags of nerves and not really with it before the game.
And he just kind of, where sometimes we again at grassroots level, it's we play grassroots for a reason, right? But if warm-ups aren't right, and if you can start so cold in big games like that, and like focus too much on the opposition or whatever, but he just gave everybody such a big focus.
100%.
Like going into that team talk and the way that he was like communicating with people, he was on it, which meant that like we were on it, kind of thing.
Exactly that.
And actually, when you throw it back a year, obviously I wasn't involved with you last year because of I was involved with Ilchester, but I was training for my London Marathon and the Ultra Marathon and things like that. When the final that had to get abandoned, I came out and did the same thing for you at Somerton. And on another day, you go on and probably win that game, don't you? And don't have to replay
100%. I think we would have won that 2 or 3-0. We were on top.
Yeah.
And
you had a really good team out on the day,
exactly,
didn't you?
yeah.
I think the second time you played it, maybe a couple of people weren't available.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So going back to the lows then, what other parts, like, can you remember I remember one game down at Minehead, with, like, I know, again, anybody that's played grassroots football, you're going to get experiences with officials that aren't great. But that guy hated us, didn't he?
Yeah.
He hated us.
Do you know what? That was our first season, wasn't it? It was Porlock away.
That's right.
Yep. And I just everything, wasn't it? Every decision.
Your dad, right? Who I would say is the most neutral. Like, it doesn't matter who's playing. I remember him giving a goal offside for when he was lino in Montague, and like any other lino, it was like the most tightest decision. It like could have gone either way. Any other club official probably doesn't stick the flag.
100%.
Your dad does. But on that day, even he said that it was absolutely
ridiculous,
abysmal. Yeah,
and it probably stole one of the best moments that we could have had away from the club as well, because we scored an equaliser. And it was Jack Mill's equaliser in a county cup game.
Yeah, I know, mad.
That would have been like, we would have all loved that and buzzed off that for probably years. But they stole that just because he did not want us to win.
Yeah,
that was it.
100%. Yeah, it was one of those moments. That's one of the like the games that I can remember the most. And then I'm sorry to Aaron's penalty and red card.
That was good. Yeah,
yeah.
We had a lot of good county cup games, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we tended to like capitulate a little bit, didn't we?
We did.
In the county cup. But I think like and again, when you speak about the levels of grassroots football, the team we played this year in the quarterfinal was probably the best team we've come against in. I can't remember who it was. We got absolutely trounced though.
Colford would. Yeah, they brilliant, weren't they?
I'd say they were probably the best team I played against all season. That was like going up playing as half a season at senior football and then dropping back in. They were definitely
100%
the most well drilled.
They went to the final. They lost the final, but still they were a very, very good side.
Yeah. Who gonna put you on the spot a little bit?
Sure.
Now. Is that all right? You happy to be?
Yeah.
The best player you've managed over your 7 years.
We both know, don't we?
JT?
Jamie Thompson, 100%.
Yeah.
Just every time he got the ball, every time you knew he was going to keep it, and you knew he was going to probably score a worldie every time he got it, to be honest. He just took it past players with ease, so composed.
Fast as well.
Fast, yeah. But away from being the technically best player, it's JT. The second one is Paul Johnson.
Yeah.
Just Mr. Reliable, constantly wins the ball back, constantly sprints around, and he's just he must be a centre mid's dream partner.
Oh
yeah. He does all the running for you, and it was so nice for him to get that opening goal in the cup final, especially after the final the year before where he broke his ankle.
A little bit of retribution there 100%. For sure. I think there was a few bits really like personally for me, obviously having a really enjoyable start to my football year, and then obviously things not working out at senior and then dropping back in. It was almost like a bit of retribution for me to go on and help you guys win a trophy, or help us win a trophy, because I've been Ilchester more than I have anybody. Mate, I was probably made double the appearances for Ilchester. I did Montague over the years, obviously, because I was mainly manager than I was a player. There you had your last game. There were so many things in that final.
Little side stories
everywhere, yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of the lads knew that it was probably their last game for Ilchester, unless people go back in the future. But was there a part of you at the end of the game that was like, oh, I could do another year?
No.
There wasn't.
Not at all.
Yeah. You're just happy to be free from it.
Yeah.
I know obviously, well, actually, I'll let you tell. I could probably guess what you're going to say, but what was the fundamental reason that you're like, do you know what, 7 years is enough? I'm going to, I don't know, hang the clipboard up now.
I think so. Number one reason is I just want a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to go spend a weekend doing stuff with Chloe, I've got that flexibility. If I want to go play football, I can go play football. If I want to go to Leeds on a Saturday and there's a big game, I can do it without the stress and feel like I'm letting people down. So yeah, that's it for me, really.
Yeah.
That was.
Can you still remember how to play?
Not really, no. I'm trying to get back to it now, and it's
Where like are we allowed to no spoilers of like what you're looking to do this without I don't want to stitch anyone up or whatever.
No,
but
so I'm gonna try and go play for Wagtail Reserves.
oh, are you?
Yeah.
Nice.
So a couple of the lads from Ilchester are going that way.
It's pretty much a transition from Milchester. To
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like I don't mind. I've told the lads they're Ilch. I'm like there's players that are too good to be
100%
going down to Div 2, but again, enjoyment is such a massive factor, isn't it?
For me, I really didn't want this situation where I'm stepping away and everybody's disappearing as well. That is the one situation I didn't want, but it's just seemed to have happened that way. And when a couple of your mates ask if you want to go play with them, I'm just going to go do it. And that's all I want to do. I want to play with friends and enjoy it. And for me, Division 2 is probably the perfect starting point after not playing for 5 years. But I can see your point 100%. Some of them, they should be playing so much higher than Division 2 football.
But I think as well, when you look at local football across, even as high up as someone like Wincanton, and obviously I've spoke to Chris Wise on the podcast, Wincanton are as good and have been as successful, and I don't if he still listens to the show, he'll like the name drop here, but they are successful because of him.
Yeah,
like he does. Obviously, he's got Andy Mitchell that can like have a little dive around in the academy at Yeovil College and see which lads are like standing out and can probably go on and play that next level of senior football. But in that situation, it's the manager that's pulling players in.
100%.
It's not a player that's going, I'm going to look through the league table this season and see who I'm going to go and play for.
Yeah.
It is about the environment. It is about your mates. It is about who the manager is, because the last thing anybody wants to do is go and turn up for somebody who's like an asshole, essentially.
No, exactly that.
And even if they are like a good side, and I think maybe there's that level of in football in general, there is a threshold that I think if that's what you're looking for, then you're only going to hit a certain height.
Yeah.
But if you do want to go and play to get paid or go a little bit higher, you are going to have to deal with maybe having your arsehole teared open at half time or at training if you're having a bad game, and you've got to deal with that. And yeah, I think it's interesting, isn't it? I think the mindset of a pro footballer must be, insane.
You just couldn't imagine it. I just could not imagine that level of pressure as well.
Yeah, because we love football, right?
Yeah.
We're sat here, we could probably talk for 3 hours about the history of like what you've done, what I've done it like in local football from a management perspective, and in some respects the experiences of playing, but there's just no comparison. And even the levels, like in fact on our run this morning, Ant was saying that there's I think his name's Josh White, plays centre back for Sherborne. He was from Stoke City's academy essentially.
Oh yeah. And
they just like everything he does is different. And you think like I'm going to use Voisey as an example. Voisey, if you was to ask him like uncontested to drill a ball from like me from 40 yards, he'd probably be able to do it, and it would look like he played a good. You know what I mean? You'd be like, yeah, he can play football. But then there's a step up from that. You know what I mean? And I just
100%.
never got anywhere near it, and never will do. But when you're just like, God, I wish I had that little bit of talent.
I know what you mean. But also for me, it's like it's the drain. So even like come the end of a season when it's Tuesday, Saturday, Saturday, it's hard. So could you imagine being in training Monday to Friday? I'm not certain on what they do at professional level, but Monday to Friday,
well,
so be playing Saturday,
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
rest Friday,
match tactics Friday afternoon, Friday morning, and then recovery, and then game. Yeah.
Could you? That must be so physically draining
and for sure.
mentally draining of just constantly being on it.
I think, of course, like no matter what level of fitness you are, you're gonna hit fatigue at some point, right? And even like, if you think about the English football calendar, like comparing at the end of our season, it was literally did we do a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday as well at the end of this year?
Not this season. I think we did last season. Yeah,
I remember that like being fuck me. How did But you have to remember that they've got every single, especially at the elite level of football, like Leeds, Chelsea, whatever. They've got the cryogenic chambers, the ice baths, a physio probably, or every player can get a physio at a beck and call. And of course that helps, but I still think it's difficult. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. The pressure of it all is
100%.
And what I think as well is you do see the players that can't cope with pressure even at a top level.
I'll give you a prime example there.
Go on.
Patrick Bamford.
Yeah, bless him, mate.
I absolutely love him, and now we've got promoted, I will love him again. But you could see COVID seasons, he was banging in goals for fun. No crowd around him. It's all noise on social media maybe, and he can probably block that out. As soon as a crowd gets in front of him again, it all disappears, doesn't it? His finishing ability just disappears, and he has probably scored 1 goal in 2 seasons.
Yeah, and I also think with modern football, don't worry, we will bring the conversation back to local football shortly, I think in the modern era of football, there's this like nonchalance, and it can come across, obviously, all of the best players over, like if you just pick a few out of the hat, Cantona, Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, Zidane, Hazard, they've all got this like air of, Messi even, air of like nonchalance.
Yeah.
They don't, it looks like they don't, off the pitch, there's nothing that can touch them. They almost think that they're immortal in some ways. Yeah,
definitely.
What annoys me is when you try and see average footballers try and do that and like play with that. A bit like Anthony would be a great example of it. Go to United with this Memphis Depay, like a couple of Man United players, to be honest with you, that have done it over. Even if I was to be like critical of some Chelsea players, Madueke, mate. Like I watch him and I'm like, mate, like it's evident that you've got talent, but that like nonchalant aura that you're portraying you haven't earned that yet. Let's just show that you can score 10 to 15 goals a year, like for every example, and then maybe that can develop. It's
100%.
Almost like people are told that the confidence, like portray this confidence and you'll be good. Well, no, like you have to be good first to kind of give that level of aura off.
100%. And it's confidence is always well perceived when you're doing well, isn't it?
For sure, mate.
Because again, sorry for going back to Leeds every time, but at the start of the season, Jayden Bogle, our right back, was the most confident player, and everyone was getting annoyed at him because he was coming across arrogant because he was dropping poor performances, but still walking around with this swagger. And then as soon as we start winning, everyone loves that confidence about him.
It's strange, isn't it?
That's football fans, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
fickle.
And I think that, like, if I look at Chelsea's year this year, the most fickle fans. Like, if you look at United, United, a couple of United drops recently, but I find their story at the moment so fascinating. I know as a Leeds fan, you're probably
I'm loving it,
rubbing your fucking hands, yeah. But I just think like, and people say the same about, they've been so blessed, but also from like a football fan United, not like Man United, like football fans United perspective, the way that their club's being ran and treated right now, if you take the Leeds hat and Chelsea hat away from it, I think it's fucking shit, because
it is.
At the end, football is about like the people, whether it be from grassroots and you're going and turning up to the rec and you've got people like yourself who's running a team for you, to like going to Yeovil and seeing local people there, that actually means quite a lot for them.
100%.
And then, but that goes all the way up. There's like, well, again, we're lucky that we've been able to go and watch our clubs a lot in our lifetimes, but that's the same across the whole country, the whole world. Football's about people, and if they get treated badly because of business, like in loose terms, that's something that I just don't think I can agree with.
No, I'm on the same wavelength there. Sorry, Leeds, I'll get off it now, but we're doing a new stadium at the moment, increasing the capacity at Ellen Road.
Yeah.
I'm so worried of the amount of corporate seats that are going to be put in that.
Mate, yeah.
It's not going to be normal general admission seats. It's going to be at least 50% corporate. So where we've got this massive waiting list for season ticket holders, they won't see it. It will be corporate businesses, anything to actually get more money into the club, and not real fans going to the football.
Yeah, mate, it's a shame. And I like the Westview at Chelsea's been done for that same reason, and they don't sell out, mate. Like Stamford Bridge isn't a big stadium. In fact, I think it's in the bottom 10 in the Premier League now. It's like in terms of Premier League stadia, it's outdated.
Yeah.
But obviously, as a Chelsea fan, I absolutely love it. But you can understand why it doesn't get the best reputation. But our owner doesn't give the stadium to even sell out now because he's got this like 1,500 or 5,000 seats at the top of the West stand, which are like comfort seating. You get a little screen in front of you. You can see replays and all this fucking bollocks. But like 150, 200 pounds to watch a Premier League home game against Burnley, it's pricing people out, mate.
Oh, 100%.
And I think that's, if you look at, like, me and Nikki paid a lot of money to go and watch Chris Brown. I think the NFL tickets at the New White Hart Lane this year are up and around 180, 200 pound.
Yeah.
Like, sport has always been about the working person and entertainment, the working person having a long day, a long week at work, and then going out and getting some enjoyment with whatever it is that they like doing. But now it's almost like switching to be just about business.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think we could probably agree. Luckily, mate, Ilchester was never about business, was it?
Not at all, no.
Apart from match fees coming into the club,
God.
yeah.
Don't get me started.
So we've spoke about negatives. We've had a little bit of a tangent onto like our clubs and modern day football and confidence and all of these kind of things. The best memories. What, like, if you were to say, I'll put you on the spot and be like top three memories.
So I've got a post going out on the Ilchester page. So
lush.
it was going to be exactly the same three, okay?
Okay.
And they're three really random moments, but they're ones that are going to stick with me forever, okay?
Scott Greenaway's golf club celebration.
Scott Greenaway's golf club celebration after scoring a screamer across Travella from outside the box. That's number one. Number two is Jack Mills' brace away at Strode in our first season.
I don't remember that.
No. He was moaning at me because I'd played him right wing back, and he was moaning at me all before game, and then by half time he's already on 2 goals.
Yeah, love
on
it.
for his hat trick. And then number 3 is from that Porlock trip.
Oh yeah,
leaving Harry Miles at the pub.
Yeah. How is he now?
I think he's doing better.
Is he?
Yeah, he's still struggling though.
Bless him. Yeah, bad time. But yeah, mate. Great. What about footballing memories then?
Footballing memories. The cup runs.
Yeah.
The cup runs are always there.
But you get free
trophies. Free trophies. And it was...
Was there a favourite one?
First one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were massive underdogs.
Massive underdogs. And that was probably when that was when it was all my mates, wasn't it? That was our first team, really. It was you, Boise, Gibbo.
Cool.
Yeah. Harry Miles, Billy Cox, Ollie Shep, Josh Mock.
Yeah.
It was a really good group of lads, and they were, well, all of the Ilchester teams have been good group of lads, but they were my closest friends. So winning it with them in the first season, that was up there, 100%. I think the only thing that let that one down was, I feel like, because it was our first season as a team in men's football, I felt like we expected to win it. And the celebrations afterwards kind of...
I remember saying this to the lads, mate. I don't know if it was like...
I do, yeah.
I remember saying, lads, you don't know how many trophies you're going to win. Like
100%.
And they say it about pro football. It's the same, right? And like... It doesn't matter, I don't think, because whatever it's like when I talk about mindset, I said your worst experience is your worst experience, but your best win in sport will always be your best win. It doesn't matter whether you win the Division 2 knockout cup, like in terms of our level, or you win the Premier League Yeovil. Like every trophy means something specific to you, and I do think you're right, mate. I think at the time we had there was always almost a little bit of uncompetitiveness with that first Ilchester team, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But how I think the way we earned that final win was that semi-final performance, wasn't it?
100%.
Scott Greenaway
in goal.
Double mention.
And that's what Ilchester was about, though, wasn't it? The likes of Scott Greenaway, just an unbelievable lad, wasn't he? And just
just a lovely boy.
Just a lovely boy, and every memory at Ilchester, he's somewhere. He is always there, no matter what, and that's what I'm gonna miss, I think.
Yeah, the moments.
Yeah, 100%.
I think you'll find, like, I know you say you're gonna find it. You'll have moments, and I've luckily it's gone now. Like I've had a couple of opportunities. Do you want to like be manager of here, there?
Yeah.
It's just right now where I've got fitter and I am probably playing. It's weird. I'm almost like I used to be shit and now I'm like getting older, but getting a little bit better. I just don't feel like I could do that. But I feel you will have moments next year where you're like, oh, just like get the itch a little bit to drop a little bit into a team talk or try and like do a little bit of like loosely coaching and all of those kind of things when you're in the changing room with the Waggy boys next year.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and stay as quiet as possible, just to settle in at least, because I feel like I'm going in as a little bit more of an outsider. So when you came in, you were straight away a very big part of Ilchester, weren't you? Because
I remember you asked, like we sat in. Do you remember sitting in the Bell? And we wrote down all of your available players that you had, and like
I do.
Long, crazy. But I guess that was like I say, and that was me trying to bring wide
exactly that.
I'd had. What have if you think back to Frazer that came on the podcast in 2021?
Yep.
January 2021 to now, what would you say the biggest difference is? But apart from a better haircut.
Better haircut. I don't know about that.
No, not
no. Different between me now and 2021. I'd say I'm probably more confident, especially coaching. Yeah. I'm happier to upset people now, and overall probably just a happier person. Definitely.
What do you think's without being obviously you're going to get married in 2027.
Is
that a big part of that for you? Like
I think so, 100%.
Yeah. Just what else has played a part in you being a happier person?
Just surround myself with like the people I want to surround myself with now. I don't try and impress anybody. I think back then I used to try and impress people and quickly realise as I've grown up it's not needed, is it? Like the people you will get on with are the people you'll get on with. The people that you want to be friends with, you'll naturally attract yourself to each other rather than trying to be something slightly different to what you are. So
I think it's a nice point, mate. I'm reading it sounds morbid, but it's not. It's about a guy who he was 46 and he got diagnosed with cancer, and it was about how he like switched it. So it's basically called how to die positively or something like that. But he basically said, I know it's obviously a bit morbid, but in the story he was like, he's always been somebody. He hasn't needed to learn a lesson later in his life about like the things that almost we're told to be or hold in high regard, like money, status, your job, and all of those kind of things. Like when you grow, like I want loads of money, I want to be flash, I want a nice car. Like really, they don't fucking matter, is what he says. It's like who you spend your most time with, the relationships you have, the love that you show, the kindness, like how many people you help, and all of those kind of things. Massive, for sure. And I think we have been quite lucky, mate, with. For those of you who don't know, Frazer and I are cousins, and we had the same we've had the same upbringing. Essentially, we've always been surrounded by people that have those kind of values.
100%.
We've never been around anybody that's like waved loads of money around and like pretended like it's the next best thing. Like highlights of my childhood, mate, were like family barbecues. And
exactly.
Shit like that.
Yeah, or sitting in Stoke Working Men's Club or Montacute Working Men's Club. That's my memories from growing up.
And if like me and Aaron were lucky, or me, Callum and Aaron were lucky, we'd be able to steal one French stubby like beer from not like nick it, but ask and be told, we can have it. But I think it's important, mate. And what about the other thing? So what do you think has played into your confidence? Like, because I think it's a subject that we speak about on the 100% podcast that used to be the grassroots guy. So it's quite nice to have this crossover. Didn't expect it to come up. What do you think's played into that for you?
I think it's just goes back to the last point of not feeling like I need to impress anybody. Just being happy in who I am and what I'm doing it's just played into confidence with no end. Just being self-assured.
Yeah, nice. And when did you learn that? Like, what was the moment that you stopped trying to? Was there a specific thing that you can remember doing?
I almost think through COVID in a weird way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just
Or sat in your pants eating 5
Yeah,
bags of
exactly
sweets.
that. Yeah, realizing nobody's going to be impressed with this. So
I may as well be. Yeah.
No, yeah, just that. Just having more time to yourself and realizing actually time to yourself isn't always bad, and not forcing yourself to go out with people that you don't particularly want to go out with. Just they're the cool, trendy people at the time. So that's it for me, really. There was no specific time. Just I think growing up, really.
You do wonder as well, don't you? Like, and I've been in my younger. I think it's a lesson that you learn with age, right? Is the most important person that you need to have a good relationship is yourself.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of my younger years, like I didn't, and I would almost compare my maybe social group and be like, oh, like they're the cool, like but actually it really don't fuck it, like
not at all.
And I know like it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it, when you say it out loud now, but that's like I think it's a natural thing that a human psychology makes us do, is we want to attach ourselves with maybe the people who have the most status, because there's got to be some kind of human nature behind that, like spending time with the most important people. But yeah, no, I like that. And then what about as a manager? Like what would you say are the biggest? I know you said about not pleasing people, so maybe those subs that you used to make to keep people happy, and picking people maybe to keep them happy. What about what have you learnt about your trends as a manager, and what's changed?
I think it also lends hand in hand with where my core friendship group slowly started not playing for Ilchester. It just meant that, well, a lot of them now are friends. So everybody at Ilchester now are classed as friends anyway, or mates.
Yeah.
But where those really close group of friends disappeared, there was nobody that I really didn't want to upset anymore. Do you know what I mean? It just kind of came natural, and I thought if they're going to fall out with me for not starting them in a game, then why are they here? Like, it's not worth it.
I think as well, similarly to me, at times there were people really that maybe you didn't want to be part of that Ilchester group. How have you dealt with that over 7 years, when there has been maybe I don't know, like a rotten grape in the bunch?
That's probably where I fall down a little bit. I am too willing to give people too many chances, probably.
I'm with you, yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think I have coped with that very well, in all honesty. I've always tried to be accepting of everybody coming into teams. I've always tried to...
I think you've been lucky, though, as well, with...
There's not been many at all.
Excuse me, no. There hasn't been so many.
And there's been people this season that I've had... I'm not going to name names, of course, but people have warned me about coming to Ilchester, and actually I've given them a chance. They've been part of the best group of lads that we've had. Like the second half of the season, we had like a quality group of lads, all got on really well, all laughed and joked. So I think for me, you've got to take people on face value for yourself instead of word of mouth.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest, when you know you've got a good change room, is when like your senior players, or even you and Joe, or not as though Joe would say, bless him, he wouldn't probably criticise too much.
No.
But when you can have a changing room that anybody can step up and say, or even on a pitch, like, that's shit, that's no good, and you know that although you might be pissed off for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, that's not going to carry on.
Yeah, exactly.
When you get back to the pub after. And I think in like some of the lesser competitive Ilchester teams, there has been that you've almost like tread on eggshells a little bit.
Yeah,
and
a little bit.
I'm sure you felt that as well, like being the manager, that
Definitely.
You know you can't be overly critical because somebody's dad will fucking say something, or like, or even like a player might get upset and go in their shell. But I think you know when you've got a good side and a competitive side, when people can take criticism.
100%. And me and you have had so many fallings out, haven't we? But doesn't stop after the game, going back to the pub, and it's just gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's...
Oh, mate, yeah. I think even at where do we have one this year? Was it out at? There was one at the end of the season.
It was at Ilchester, wasn't it? I remember.
Yeah.
I subbed you off too early.
I don't remember.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we lost. We won Misterton at home.
That's it. Yeah.
What's it been like managing me and like seeing? Obviously, like from people who listen to my journey about the fitness stuff and Has it been interesting? What I know you see me regularly anyway.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
has
yeah.
it been interesting watching me as a like fitness and football player
Definitely.
from 7 years ago to now?
Definitely, because 7 years ago, fitness, you didn't really have it, but you obviously are very technically good. Now the technical side is still there, but you can run, and it's amazing. I remember saying that though. Your first ever friendly, can you remember?
Came back from did I score?
Your first friendly against Bruton.
Yeah, I did score.
Yeah, you scored.
That was my first game back from my ACL. Again, it's one of those like, fuck me, I'm back playing football.
Yeah.
And it was a good confidence.
I remember you were a big guy at that point, weren't you?
Yeah.
You turned a centre back, ran past him and scored. And I remember you coming after me and was like, I think I can do this.
Yeah. It was a nice moment, mate. I think anyone that's done those big injuries, again, like if you compare that it's the same recovery really.
Yeah.
And if I'd have just done my ACL, I don't think I would have played for 18 months and I'd have been at risk of doing it again.
Yeah.
But because I did my a slight tear to my MCL, full snap of my ACL, and like basically the tendon and my kneecap were rubbing against each other, so they couldn't leave it. Like basically I'd have been in incredible amounts of pain, wouldn't have been able to not use crutches. So I was on the operating table. I did the injury in Montacute's first. It was against Aaron's team that he moved to.
Oh really?
Yeah, Peas down.
Yeah.
And from that friendly on the Saturday, I was on the operating table in 13 days. I had my operation on the Friday, nearly 2 weeks later. But I think as well, like I know we're talking about what you've seen from me, but the thing that I did that I know a lot of people don't do is I did every bit of rehab that I could.
Yeah.
And I didn't play football again until someone was like, "Yeah, go and give it a whirl."
Yeah, definitely.
I remember coming to. I don't think I got involved in the contact training with you lot for a month. I was just doing the passing drills and stuff. Yeah, I remember that.
Also, like the big thing of having you in a side, in any football side, is the communication. It's just that is half the battle on a football pitch, and having somebody like you that's going to talk to people around them just helps.
Commentary, mate.
Yeah, you commentate the game.
Yeah.
But that's been the same since day one to 7 years later. That hasn't changed with you. So that's good.
Yeah, I think, mate, it's been again, I know I gave you your credit at the start of the episode, but it's just been so nice to know that and you use it loosely, but there is a home for football, and it's going to be weird this year, mate. Because I know Twiggy's doing his best with trying to build a side together, but I think it's going to be difficult for him because you've left a bit of a huge hole, right? It's like anybody that even if at the top level, somebody's been at a club for a long period of time. It's their players, it's their staff, everyone in the all of the staff. I say staff, all of the treasurer, secretary. They all know you.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
not going to know who's coming in now. It's going to be interesting, mate. It's going to be interesting to watch it unfold.
I'm sure it'll do absolutely fine. He'll smash it 100%.
One word to describe your time as Ilchester manager over the last 7 years.
Roller coaster.
Yeah.
So many ups and downs.
Yeah.
It's been brilliant, but there has been some absolute slogs in there as well.
Yeah. There has been some seasons of slogs. And I think, COVID, one of those times, wasn't it?
Yep.
Mate, I think anybody that's been involved with Ilch, anybody that knows you, even the rivals that you've had over the years probably know how much of a good job that you've done there and what you put together. But it's been fucking amazing having you sat opposite me, mate, on now the 100% podcast. Have you enjoyed coming back on?
I have, yeah. It's been really good fun.
Yeah, nice, man. I want to end in the most traditional way that I can, and this again, it may be putting you on the spot and maybe getting you to think in different ways.
Mildew?
No, it's not that anymore, mate. Yeah, we've switched it up. So I've got two questions. One of them is I've asked this week on my in my 100% group online. You may have seen some of the posts that have been going around and whatever. I'm just trying to get engage some conversation. If you could have any skill like, and I mean anything from like magical to you can dance like Chris Brown or whatever. If you could have any skill, what would it be?
To be able to play football like Messi.
Yeah, fair enough.
100%.
Yeah. You'd have to be left-footed though, mate.
Right-footed Messi.
Okay, fine. That's fine. I don't mind that one. That's a good one. I think you'd make a good footballer as well, mate. You'd be quite humble, I hope.
Yeah, 100%.
Remember your family. Get the tickets. Get the tickets. If you was to speak to Frazer at 18 years old, what would you tell him?
Just try to be yourself. Be confident in what you're doing and do it for you. That'll be it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, mate.
Is that okay?
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Frazer, it's been amazing having you on the show, mate. I can't believe it's been 4 years, but I think to sign our manager-player relationship off in this way and get you back onto the show, and you come and see, this is the first time you've seen this, right? Which has been really fun to have you in. But if you have enjoyed today's episode with me and Frazer, tell him to like and subscribe on YouTube.
Like and subscribe on YouTube, please.
And then if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you hit if you're liking on Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave a 5-star review and follow the show, subscribe to the show. And if you're listening on Spotify, click the follow button, drop a 5-star review as well. It does go a long way to help on the show. I'll see you here with a new episode every Friday. Take care.